All right, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So not only do I have the honor of being best man, but I've also had the privilege of having a ringside seat from the very beginning of this love journey.
Yes.
So I'm going to share a few things with you so you can ride along with that journey as well. So I'm going to go back to the very beginning. As you're aware, they met during karaoke, which I was there hosting. So how did I start with karaoke? I'm just going to quickly touch on that and tie it into this beautiful love story. So my bandmate and friend Anesti, who's part of the family that owns the Safety Harbor Spa,
He's not here. This is his spot.
who is not here this evening, but he's here. He is in spirit.
Yeah. Sorry.
He called me up and he said, I have this opening in the lounge for karaoke. And my first thought was, it was my foolish ego kicking in and saying, I'm an artist. Karaoke, that's beneath me, which I was wrong, of course. But I gave it some thought and I thought this should be interesting. So I had lots of experience with performing, many decades, the best equipment, but absolutely no experience whatsoever with karaoke. So I figured, I know that they post videos on YouTube, I'll start using that, and then use a computer and a monitor. So I get started. My very first customer, no, it was not Gary, it was Mike, who's here tonight, my very first customer. So I'm doing yes, Magic Mike. So I've been into this karaoke for a few weeks. So far, so good. And this gentleman comes up to me and he says, "What program are you using for karaoke?" And I said, "I'm using YouTube." And he goes, "No, seriously. What program are you using for karaoke?" And I said, "Well, I've been..." And he goes, "Well, do you mind if I, give you a few ideas here and so forth?" And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'll humor this guy. Because I'm thinking, hey, this is working out. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So the next week, and of course that person I'm talking about is none other than my good buddy Gary. The next week he comes in with a laptop computer with the programs already installed on his own laptop that we plugged in. And then the following week he brings in this device where we can put the lyrics on all the TVs. And then after that, he brings in monitors. So, at the beginning, I was apprehensive about the whole thing. Of course, now, I'm very grateful because it turned out to be one of the most fun gigs I've ever had. I look forward to karaoke, and it gave me a chance to meet a lot of really, really good friends, many who are here tonight, and of course, Gary as well. So, every week, Gary would come in and we would hang out, we'd have the greatest time, and we really became great friends. I mean, it was just a lot of fun we were having week after week. And then there was that fateful day when Darlene comes in. And of course.
My birthday, November 1st.
Yes, it was his birthday, that's right. So, Gary's mingling, and of course, we're celebrating his birthday, and he comes back, and he says, I've been asked to sing in this band. He says, the lady over there, Darlene? I'm like, yeah, she's really good. He goes, well, she asked me to sing in a band. And, of course, my first thought was, how come she didn't ask me? Just kidding. How come? No. So they get together for the rehearsals, and then when he comes back for the karaoke, we talk about it, and he was really excited from from a musical aspect. And then I said, well, she's a pretty lady. Are you guys, And he goes, oh, no, she doesn't see me like that at all. Am I wrong so far?
No.
Okay.
I was a player. I was gay. I was.
So, week after week, he was super excited about this musical endeavor. And I would ask him, I said, you're really excited about this. You sure there's no romance? And he goes, well, no, she doesn't see me like that. Of course, I think she's beautiful, and some of the guys in the band really, too much information. Okay. So time went on, and then that was when we had the break where the lounge closed for COVID. So Gary and I were keeping in touch. We talked on the phone, and a little bit of time went by, and then our conversations shifted from things that we used to talk about before, the musical aspect and so forth, to how wonderful Darlene is and how much fun they're having together, and he's never felt like this before. So, and there's been no looking back since then, too. So then the lounge opens up again. I call up Gary. I said, hey, we're back on again. And he goes, no, you've been replaced.
I didn't really say.
Well,
For all intents and purposes.
yeah, there you go.
I didn't say it, but it's true.
So, it was fate that truly brought them together. They have a lot in common, as we know. They're both amazingly talented, but they're both very genuine, wonderful people. And I can say this without any reservations, because I really got to know Gary very well with a lot of the time that we spent together. And of course, he's Darlene as well. So let's raise our glasses to them.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
To a long, happy, healthy relationship and life together.
Yeah. Cheers.
Give it up to Dimitri. Okay, next we're going to have Annie Leah come on up. Our maid of honor.
And you are.
I said I hope you didn't drink the whole thing.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Amy. I'm the maid of honor. I'm honored to be here. I have to tell you, it's been such an emotional day today. I've cried at the drop of the hat, but I think we all have felt the deep love and the emotion of the ceremony. And I mean, even the cake is in tears. So I'm going to rely on my little prompter here, because I am not as suave and smooth as Dimitri. But I met Dar in 1997. I was a new host at the Home Shopping Network, and Dar was the sewing expert at Home Shopping Network, and she was going to be my guest that evening for a sewing show. Have you ever met someone and you just felt this instant connection, this almost like you were kindred spirits? That if you're lucky, that happens once in a lifetime, right? So we fell into this great conversation. We hit it off. And, I felt like I had known her all my life. And I felt very comfortable. And as we walked to the set to go on the air, I confided in her. I said to her that I had gotten a D in sewing in high school. I was thoroughly intimidated by the thought of doing a sewing show and terrified, and I was going to be of no help whatsoever. None. She turned to me with this incredible enthusiasm and said, "Fantastic! So I will be able to teach you and our viewers all about our sewing machine. And I thought, how cool is this woman? You know, we're about to go on the air, 80 million viewers, and she was not fazed whatsoever. So it boosted me. It gave me confidence, and I thought, right on, we are gonna rock this show. And we did, didn't we? And proceeded to have many other shows with lots of bloopers and such. But our conversations since then have grown more lively, more intimate, more hilarious, and more meaningful over the last 27 years. 27 years, oh my goodness. There are many things that I could share with you about Darlene. I can tell you how kind, generous, and loving she is, and that a better friend you could never find. I could tell you that she is incredibly gifted, accomplished, fiercely loyal, and devoted. And I, for one, am in awe of her incredible determination, perseverance, and commitment to excellence. So here's just one example of what I'm talking about. Some of you may know that Darlene was a contestant on Wickedly Perfect. This was the show that was going to find the next American diva, domestic diva. So on the very first show, the challenge was the team who picked the most apples from this huge apple orchard would win the challenge. So the camera starts panning over all of the teams, and you see people are jumping up, reaching branches, plucking apples, and the camera pans over to the next team, and some guy's trying to scramble up the trunk of the tree and, you know, steal these apples, and then the camera lands on Darlene's team, and it was pandemonium. You saw all of her teammates running around, picking up what seemed to be this heavenly downpour of apples from the sky. And so the camera pans up this tree, and there is Darlene sitting in the middle of this huge apple tree. Do you remember this, Victoria and Edward? We were all watching, and she was shaking every branch she can get her hands around, and bushels of apples fell to the ground, fell into the arms and baskets of her teammates. It was just magnificent to watch. That's just one small example of how ingenious she is, how determined she is, and she has always been someone who I have looked up to. And I always say she's the most aspirational person that I've ever met. And when she told me that she was determined to meet a life partner, and she wanted someone to share a meaningful, intimate, and beautiful life with, I thought, well, I better take notes, because I had no doubt in my mind that she would go after this goal, this dream, and accomplish it. She told me that she would only be with a man who was all in, who was willing to do the work, and who was completely committed to create and sustain an authentic, loving partnership. And then she said to me, I will be willing to go out with 100 men on 100 dates if that's what it takes. But didn't. One night at a karaoke bar, she met a very handsome, charming guy who had a great voice and a dashing style. Number 43, right here. Now, I have only heard over these past 3 years the story of their courtship, of their love, of the kind of man Gary is, but I will tell you, and Dar will attest to this, I am really good about people. And I will tell you that here is a man who stepped up, was all in, and fiercely committed to being the life partner that Dar dreamed of. And boy, is he ever. Is he ever. Now, please don't think that any of this was easy for either of them. They fought for this love, to learn how to establish boundaries, repair the inevitable rifts and ruptures, and to truly have each other's back. I know you will both agree when I say, love isn't always perfect. It isn't a fairy tale or a storybook, and it doesn't always come easy. Love is overcoming obstacles, facing challenges, fighting to be together, holding on and never letting go. It's a short word, easy to spell, difficult to define, and impossible to live without. Love is work, but most of all, love is realizing that every hour, every minute, and every second was worth it because you were both in it together. Please, will you join me in raising a glass to my beautiful, intrepid friend and her handsome, dashing groom. And I would like to say, may you be friends to each other as only lovers can, and may you love each other as only best friends do. Give it up for Darlene. All right. George, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, we got George coming up. Give it up for George.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Are we enjoying the drinks? Does everyone have everything they need? Oh, good. Over here? All right. I'm also going to be using a teleprompter. Let me find my script here. There we go. All right. Mom. My mom. Hi. Congratulations, first and foremost. Some of you may be aware of Darlene, the successful entrepreneur, or maybe even Darlene, the home shopping network sewing category god, who reigned for 18 years and had some of the best sales that category has ever seen before or since she graced them with her presence. She sold millions of sewing machines. But not all of you know the full depth and breadth of this stunning woman's accomplishments. I would like to give you a brief glimpse of the Darlene that I know and how I see the verifiable Wonder Woman that sits before you. My mom, the professional decorator. Tiling, wallpaper, upholstery, she's done literally every aspect of home renovation with style and class. My mom, the personal artisan tailor. Gowns, wedding dresses, suits, tuxes. She could whip up an entire circus ringmaster costume in a single afternoon. She could look at a photo of what you wanted and then make it. She's just a very gifted seamstress. My mom, the Mary Kay All-Star Salesman. That's right, she won the pink car before it was cool. My mom's gardening and landscaping green thumb. At our previous house, we had 2.5 acres, all of which were beautifully and painstakingly manicured by this woman, by herself. All she needed was a wheelbarrow and some help from a younger, handsome young man. You're welcome. My mom, the singer, actor, dancer, a true triple threat, and not only was she in shows, in the chorus line performing, she would also costume those shows, spending inordinate amounts of time making sure every detail of every costume was perfect. She's performed on national television, commercials, countless venues around the globe. She's traveled the world by plane, train, and cruise ship, performing in her own magic show that she created. My mom, the reality show TV star. That's right, she was a final contestant on a reality show back when those were very popular. And to confirm your suspicions, yes, they are all rigged, because she should have won. Did I mention she's a world-class baker and cook? And I know what you're thinking. No, I am not biased. On that aforementioned show, she had to do a meal from scratch in a terribly unfit kitchen for Bobby Flay. And not only did she do it, she knocked his pants off. He thought it was fantastic. My mom was also an infomercial powerhouse who worked with the late, great Billy Mays. She's done just about everything, And honestly, I could go on, but I don't think we actually have time to cover her entire resume. But the final job that I will mention, that is arguably the most important, is mom. My mom. She's always been my safe space, my shoulder to cry on, a font of wisdom and advice, and my #1 cheerleader who always pushes me to do better. In more recent years, I can also truthfully say that you are my closest friend. And she has shown me that hard work, dedication, and a spirit of adventure will take you anywhere you want to go. And now she is starting her next adventure with the man of her dreams. And Gary, you're a lucky guy. But she is also a lucky woman to have found such a passionate, strong, hardworking, and from all I hear, amazing all-around man. So thank you for coming into her life and making her the happiest I've ever seen her. So ladies and gentlemen, please raise your glass to Darlene and Gary on their next great adventure.
Here, here.